Hello, guys, and welcome to the first episode of The Dream Team, where I'll be asking different guests to build their favourite Rovers 11 from the time they've been watching. Doesn't necessarily have to be your favourite players. It could be the best. It could be the ones that have created the most memories for you. Our first guest today is Tom, who is turning into a bit of a permanent fixture on this channel. Evening, Tom. Firstly, how are you doing, mate? And are you feeling confident about your team selection?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks, mate. And yeah, I am actually. I'm just looking through the lineup again. I went through it earlier, and I'm feeling fairly confident. It's going to be interesting to see how many players that are in both our teams.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you're a year older than me, so we've been watching Rovers for a similar time period.
Yeah, well, I won't be doing my team today, but I'm sure.
Oh, is that the big reveal at the end of the series?
Yeah, exactly. We'll build up to that. But yeah, I'll definitely offer some opinions on that. So
yeah.
Shall I give you the rules first off?
Yeah, defo.
All right, basically. So you can play any formation you like. So I mean, if you wanted to go for like a 3-4-3, not sure you will, but you can do whatever you want with that. The players you pick, you have to have watched play. So you can't go for any sort of Ian Holloways or things like that. At the end of the video, I'll ask you for the manager choice. I mean, there's not a huge amount of options there. I have a feeling I know who yours will be. And at the end as well, I'll give you 3 substitutes you can use as impacts. So if you imagine that you were playing a game, who would you want on your bench? And I think the way we'll do it is as we go through the team, for each position, you can give a couple of honourable mentions there.
Yeah.
So I guess without further ado, we should just get into it, mate.
Yeah, sure, mate. So I've decided that the best teams are always the ones that are moulded to formation, well drilled in that formation. So I've gone for a 4-2-3-1, which is quite. It's not very creative, but I think I think that over the years, the best Rovers teams have probably been the 4-4-2. I think Troll's promotion season was a 4-4-2. Under DC, we played 4-4-2 in the conference and League 2 promotion season.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what makes me laugh? For some reason, when you mentioned a 4-4-2, my initial thought went back to, do you remember that opening game against Charlton with DC? Where he had, I think it was like Easter Gaffney, Liam Lawrence on the left.
That was I think towards 2016-17 season when we pretty much didn't have, actually, I'm pretty sure it was mid-season as well.
It might have been mid-season, yeah. I just remember the absolute outrage from Gassed, and he looked at him. So I think it was like Mansell and Sinclair maybe in midfield, and I think it was at the point where we'd wanted to sort of progress past that conference team maybe. Might be
that was a weird season for that, because you had, I think the season after as well, because you still had quite a few players on the team. You're thinking, oh, are we going to transition or not? Because
I interrupted you there. Carry on what you're saying.
No, that's all right. So in goal, I might have a bit of recency bias with this, but I'm going to go with Belly.
Are you?
Yeah, I am. I think his shot stopping is obviously fantastic. His reflexes, but as I said on the last call with you, I think the best keepers are the fifth defender almost, and by that I mean their distribution. So his distribution's outstanding. Really good at playing out from the back. Very cool, calm, and collected. So that's almost the bonus points that sort of tipped it in his favour. Some of the things he's pulled off the season have been unbelievable.
Do you think for Rovers goalkeepers it's important to have that connection with the fans? Because when I look back and think about the players that I loved in goal, you've got Belly, like you said. The other one that sticks out for me, and it might be an honourable mention, was Steve Mildenhall.
Yeah, he's on the list here. I've got a list of 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And as you said, most of them have had a great affinity with the fans. Steve Phillips as well.
Yeah, exactly. Another example.
But he ended up becoming a bit of almost a Rovers legend, or arguably a Rovers legend. So there's him, Mikael Andersson.
Yeah, another very good shout, actually.
He was also a very similar player in respect to, we mentioned another player earlier who joined on loan, had a really, really good first loan spell. And then, to be honest, when he came back for that half season in the 2010-11 season, he didn't have a great defence in front of him. So, but that 2009-10 season, Mikael Andersson was brilliant. I've got Neil Etheridge, 2012-13 on loan from Fulham. He's obviously
Good boys.
played in the Premier League since. He was a good keeper. Mildy, obviously, as you mentioned,
Building Hall.
what a guy. And he stuck with us into the conference, and I think he was around. He was a keeper when we were promoted from League Two as well. He was in goal against Dagenham that day. So he's definitely a Rovers legend. I've got Lumley as well, Joe Lumley.
Yeah, that's a good choice
Had a
actually.
good half season with us a few years ago.
Where's he now? Is he at QPR, Lumley?
Lumley's he's at Borough, I think.
Borough, that's it. Yeah, 'cause I remember seeing him the other day on TV, and I thought he was good for us, wasn't
Yeah, he was for that half season. And I've got Bonham.
he? Oh yeah,
Loan.
yeah.
He was, he's I don't know, is he still at Gills now? I think he is.
Mm.
I think 2019-20, 2 seasons ago, that first half of the season, Anzi was on flames that half season. I think he was the best keeper in the league, in League One. It's a shame that he's so injury ravaged.
I think you could make an argument, couldn't you, for Anzi that he might actually be the best goalkeeper on the list, but he's just been ravaged by injuries, and I think he did have that connection with Rovers, but a lot of his time playing was whilst there was no fans there, was there? So
yeah, I wouldn't say. I'd say he was fantastic in that first half season, but to be honest, last season he was obviously injured, but also dropped. I'm pretty sure, and he's been superseded by Belly. So yeah, that's the keeper.
that's a good pick, mate. Do you want to go? Should we go right back first?
Yeah, right back. I'm gonna go with Michael Smith.
Yeah, so that was the name in my head, mate. That was the name.
Yeah, I think very unlucky to have played in such a terrible Rovers team. Very good player. I think he struggled a little bit when he first came over from Northern Ireland, but he quickly settled in.
He was young, wasn't he? And I remember he had that floppy sort of just in the head.
Yeah. He was, very calm, composed player, very quick for right back, great going forward, great cross of the ball. Was a very solid defender. So I don't think any Rovers fans were really bitter that he left.
I think we almost wanted him to go, didn't we? It was
exactly. I'm pretty sure he was in the League Two team of the season. And he went to a good club in Peterborough. In terms of they're very good at developing players, picking players up from League Two. Then he's gone to Hearts as well. He's been at Hearts for a while, so he's had a fairly good career. Other notable mentions on that front were Danny Woodards. Season. I was very impressed with him his first season. Daniel Ledbetter. I know that might not be a popular choice for some. I think it's a bit of a difficult one because he didn't start great, but that League Two promotion season, I was a big fan of his. He seemed to be very much a confidence-based player.
Definitely.
Tell when he was lacking confidence. That 2015-16 season, he was unbelievable. But then, last couple of years, I don't think we really saw the best of him. So maybe that would be an argument for, a purple patch, a team of players.
I was going to say, and I think a lot of the players maybe that are in the team or could get in the team, it's because you associate them with the period of Rovers when we were successful. Like I would probably argue that Ledbetter is probably not even in the top 5 of my right backs, but because he was playing amongst those great players and he had that confidence in the team, that elevated his levels.
I think, but then I think one who supersedes both Woodards and Ledbetter is Luca Hall.
Do you think? Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I think I'm putting a bit of recency bias on that and also potential, but he really nailed down that spot, and I haven't seen many defenders as composed on the ball as he is. I just wish he crossed the ball a bit more. Sometimes you can see he makes that forward pass to the winger quite obvious, and so it's easy for the opposition to shut it down. But more than anything, he's a great defender.
Yeah,
he's played a big part in our run this season. But I think this is one of the positions where the differential between the Rovers legend who makes the squad and the players who miss out is probably the largest.
Yeah.
So I'm
I
going
think that's a good choice, mate. I think not. I don't think people could argue with Michael Smith at right back, especially in the time that we've been watching. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm sure there are many others, but I think for technical ability and I think I think he was first of all he was a very good defender. Secondly, great going forward. So I think Smudge pips everyone to that. I've
nice.
got a fairly large centre half list. I'm going to go for Tom Lockyer.
Yeah, that's a great shout.
Arguably as captain, I think he really came into his own when he moved from right back to centre. Well, he started off centre mid, didn't he, in that
Yeah.
relegation season? He signed a 2-year extension. In the conference, he played right back. Then when we moved into centre half in the League Two season at 2020, I felt he became
Your audio's just gone a bit weird, mate. Do you want to?
my audio's gone.
Yeah, that's all right. Now carry on. Sorry.
Yeah. I was just saying that League Two season was when he really sort of reached that level and he started kicking on even more. So I think just pure defending, excellent, great in the air for. So I'm not sure how tall he is, but he's probably about 6 foot, 6'1" maybe.
Not massive, is he?
Not massive, but very competent in the air. I'd say most of the time very good on the ball as well.
I think that's almost one you don't really need to explain, is it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rovers fans agree with that. So who would you have playing alongside him?
I'd have Steve Elliott. It's a bit of a choice of passion over skill, but
You need that sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. There are notable mentions going to Byron Anthony, who was obviously a passionate player as well. I think Elliott was a better centre half.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Craig's on the list as well. Solid defender. I'm not sure who I've missed off that list.
Someone for me, which is again, it's probably those sort of not cult legends, but those certain players that just stick in your mind personally.
Yeah.
I love Tom Parks. I don't know what it was about him, but he just sort of a bit of a Jack the Lad, wasn't he? I would hesitate to call him overweight, but he was certainly on the bulkier side.
Yeah.
He was old fashioned. He'd fly into headers, into challenges, but he was also quite competent on the ball.
It was a bit of a weird one because they made him captain pretty much as soon as he joined permanently. And so I think that was a bit of a too much of a weight on his shoulders at the time.
No, I think that's true.
The season, I don't think he was great at all. The conference season, very impressive. And then I'm not sure from what and this is actually, there's somebody who I've missed off the list completely who I should have on there is Maka.
Yeah, Maka. There's that photo, isn't it, on the conference final, when he drops to his knees.
Yeah, of course. How could I forget Maka?
Would you have him in question for the actual team, or?
I'd be tempted to put him above Steve Elliott, but Steve Elliott actually played at League One for most of his time, or at least most of the time I was watching Rovers. Maka, I think, left. He was released March of our first season back in League One. So when it came, I think Maka was a very similar player, but played in divisions below us.
That's a good point, actually. That
leadership capabilities are unparalleled for Maka. But I think Steve Elliott pips it for me. I don't know. I think he was a good solid defender. He scored quite a few goals as well. Those are my two centre halves.
Just quickly, we won't go on it too much. But any temptation to put Connor Taylor in there?
He's on the list.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's move on then. Left back.
Only one contender for this is going to be Lee Brown.
Yep. Easy that, isn't it?
Stuck with Rovers for, I think, what was it, 7 seasons in the end. He was a good player even in a crap Rovers team. Stuck with us, and was a key player in those 2 promotion seasons and carried on afterwards. And he had a good spell at Pompey after playing for Rovers. So, sometimes I think he shied didn't shy. I'm not going to say shy away from tackle. I felt like he could be stronger in a challenge than he was. But going forward in his crossing was fantastic, and I'd say that's one of the players we've probably missed quite a bit actually nowadays. I know we've got some good left backs this season, but I think over the course of like the last few years, you miss players like Lee Brown, who probably weren't obviously the captain of the club, but just a pure leader in the way they are and the way they play. You could see in that team in 2014 to 2017 or so, all the players who were kind of like becoming fairly senior and taking more responsibility. So Lee Brown's my left back,
and he's got a day named after him, so he had to be in there, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
So are you going to be playing 2 CDMs? Or is it sort of a fluid midfield?
More of a fluid, like this season.
Okay, yeah, I can go with that. So do you want to just
I think it was. Yeah, I think it's more sort of a fluid than 2 CDMs.
Okay.
So I've got quite a big list here.
Do you want to do the honourable mentions first? Do maybe 2 or 3 of the honourable mentions. Who were very close to getting in the team?
Craig Disley.
Yeah. Oh God, if he's not in it, must be a very good midfield.
One that might not be too popular with Rovers fans, John Joe O'Toole.
No, I think for the quality of the type of player he was.
Yeah.
Apart from the fact, Lee Manson, did you say?
He's an honourable mention as well.
Yeah.
Don't need to explain why. Wally Clark. I think he was clinically underrated. I think we really missed him last season when we were relegated. I mean, it was we had a talented midfield, but I think he could be a bit sloppy with his passing, Wally Clark, but I think he was actually underrated in the fact that he was quite strong in the challenge. Some of his passing actually ended up being, some of his long passing, the range that he had was actually pretty good. And
I think with him, a lot of it was he would quite often try and play that Hollywood pass, and it often wouldn't come off. So fans would put on the back. But I think he's one of those sort of players that you don't know what you've got until he's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
He just seemed like he was no nonsense. He did his job, didn't make any headlines. He scored the odd screamer here and there. But Rovers fans just sort of took him for granted and thought, oh yeah, he's obviously in our team. But I think you're right with that. He was missed. So any more honourable mentions?
I'm going to go with Evo as an honourable mention.
Yeah,
he doesn't quite make it. Obviously we know from this season how talented he is. I guess we've only really seen him play for 6 months. So my 2 midfield are Chris Lines.
Yep, nice.
One of the 2. Linesy, my childhood hero.
Sorry, so are you going for 4-4-2? Did you say
4-2-3-1?
4-2-3-1. Okay, sweet.
So Linesy, when he went on those sort of marauding runs, got his head down, just great to watch. That's exactly what you want from one of your centre midfielders. You can have a centre midfielder that's good at passing forwards.
Yeah.
But if you have a centre half that's good at passing forwards and good at running with the ball, it's like you have someone who can sort of thread balls through a little bit further up the pitch, get himself into the box. I think his best spell was probably his second one. I feel like he was still a very, very good League One player in the first spell, but those he played a role in those 2 promotions and the 3 seasons after that. But also, his passing range was really good. People argued that he wasn't great in the tackle, and perhaps shied away, but that's why I'd have next to him Stuart Campbell.
Oh, love that pick, mate.
I have many a memory of Stuart Campbell on the floor having fouled somebody, arguing with the referee. But
every game he'd come off, wouldn't he, with muddy shorts and
yeah, exactly. Very long shorts. But he was also technically very good. I know he's a set piece taker, no nonsense midfielder. He'd do all the tackling and running. Well, no, I think it'd be unfair to say that he was a very good tackler and a very good runner. So, and captain material. I think he'd probably be the captain of this team.
I was going to say that is already. You look at that team. I'd say almost every player in there. So far is a leader, isn't there? So
definitely. So now we go on to the skillsters.
The skillsters, nicely put, mate. The skills.
Got Billy Bowden right midfield.
Nice.
I know I overused the word magisterial, but that man on the ball, he can do anything.
That's an apt description, isn't it?
It's amazing how he ended up coming to Rovers. I think he'd done his ACL at Torquay. He'd been released from Torquay, and he knew Ellis Harrison through the Welsh under-21 system.
Is that what it was?
Rovers, yeah. We gave him a very short-term contract, and he just turned into an absolute beast. It was that fake shot. He'd cut inside the fake shot, or the step over, the bone step over. It just nailed down to a T, and it would work every time. The feints, that everything, the shooting, cutting inside onto his left foot, shooting, honestly, just
magisterial,
fantastic.
Mate. Magisterial.
Magisterial. I might as well say it. Magisterial.
Are you playing him on the right then?
He's on the right. He's cutting inside onto that left foot.
Okay, who have you got on the left?
I've got Mustafa Carriol.
Oh, what a pick that is! I always feel like people forget about him, but he was one of my first loves for Rovers. I think it was in the FA Cup against Tottenham at home.
Yeah.
It's one of my first memories of Rovers, and he just cut in, did a couple of step overs and just lashed it into the net, mate. And ever since then, I've loved him.
I don't think I've seen a quicker player at Rovers.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was out of the starting lineup he was only at Rovers for a season. I think Buckle didn't start him at the beginning of the season. I remember he turned it around in a League Cup game, and I'm pretty sure he scored the winning penalty or something like that.
Where did he come from? What club was it?
Good question.
Was it below or above us?
I'm not entirely sure, actually. But
no, I can't remember that.
It might have been Torquay. Was it Torquay?
Let me have a quick look.
He might have been one of Buckle's.
Because he was young when he came to us, wasn't
he? Yeah.
He was at. Let me have a look. Lincoln.
Oh God. So probably playing conference. And he was just absolutely rapid, and he wasn't just rapid, but he used the ball very well. Had a great shot on him. So I'd play him left mid.
Nice.
I've got the Geordie Maradona at cam.
Oof.
I've got Elliot Anderson.
It's hard to argue that, isn't it? I mean, a lot of people say, well, he's only been here for 3 or 4 months, but on sheer quality, you could argue he's the best player in that team.
Yeah, most definitely.
I don't think it's a controversial statement, do you? No, you're right. You see it every week.
Just the as you said, the sheer ability. He can beat a man. He can pass. So his range of passing is fantastic, and he's very incisive with his passing too. His finishing is brilliant. We saw that on Saturday. What a turn of finish that was.
He makes it look so easy, doesn't he?
He does. He's one of those players who just seems to just make football seem like almost like you're playing in the park with your mates, and it's fantastic watching him play. It's been a real pleasure to watch him play. I'm sure. Honestly, it's obviously very hard to call whether he's going to be in the Premier League or not, considering it's a completely different kettle of fish. But he's certainly going to have a very successful career. And I prefer him playing in the hole than out wide on the left, because I like it when he can get in between the lines.
Yeah.
So
before I ask for your honourable mentions in attack, let's finish the team off and go with your striker, and then we can.
Striker only has to be one man. Sir Ricky Lambert.
Thank God you said that. I thought you were going to go.
You bought it.
I thought you might just slip it in there, but no. Again, no one's arguing with that, are they?
Just all-round shooting ability. Obviously, not a very quick striker, but shooting the best finisher. I think I've seen at Rovers. Pips Taylor because, well, if you're talking from a footballing sense, it's just from that striking ability, and we've seen that considering they both left Rovers at a similar age. One of them's ended up in League One, back where he left Rovers. The other one
slipped that one in on
league, and
I think
scored Wembley.
Mate. Exactly.
So I think Taylor would have had a much better career had he stayed for an extra 6 months and gone to a better Championship club. It's fairly obvious to a lot of people why he left.
You can't blame him for that, I don't think.
No, but he had a case of myopia when it came to it. He could have been earning the same amount of money at a Championship club 6 months later. But
good point.
It's a difficult one if you want to think from his perspective. It's quite hard to understand why you'd leave a team in the playoffs of League One to join a team that was struggling in Championship at the time for pure footballing reasons. And also Ricky Lambert, hold-up play is a lot better too.
Oh, he's a significantly better striker.
If you've got, obviously the Geordie Maradona and Bodie aren't purely physical players, so they'll play off Ricky in that respect.
It's such a tasty front four, mate.
Yeah, that for Bodin,
Carriol,
and Sir Ricky.
So who have you got who were close to getting in that front four?
Mentions Evo in Cam.
Yeah.
I've got someone in terms of a pure purple patch would be Adam Dawson in the conference.
Oh God, yeah.
No, obviously nowhere near the team, but an honourable mention. I think he was fantastic for that 10-game run-in. Got Taylor, Richard Walker.
Yeah.
Obviously, he scored a hatful of goals in League Two. Chris Zabrowski.
Do you remember that chant about Zabrowski?
What was it?
It was I think it was Get Lost Mourinho, Zabrowski is ours, because there was rumours that Mourinho was coming in for Zabrowski when he was at Madrid. I remember hearing that and I just thought, what the hell is going on?
Oh God.
But no, Zabrowski I can understand. There was have you got any more you want to say? Because I just had one thing to say about your midfielders, but if you got some more.
To be fair, there weren't many actually.
Harrison?
Ellis, yes.
Yeah.
Throw him into the mix. Especially his last season with us, when I think he scored 15 goals in League One. I'm going on about pure purple patches here. Someone who wouldn't make it near the squad, but worth mentioning that purple patch that Gaffney had.
Yeah, that's a great
game alone. I'm trying to think in terms of. I'd say we've been blessed more. I think we've had some outstanding strikers, but in terms of number of possible players to be in a team like this, I'd say we had more players in midfield and defense.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, the one position for me, which I mean, actually seeing who you put in, it's hard for me to argue with. But I was surprised you didn't give him even a mention, was Sam Finley.
Yeah, I think I've got Coots and Finley on that list in the midfield. So yeah, they've been vital this season. I think it was tough to sort of usurp Linesy.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think he can go in.
But if they definitely have the potential, that's what I can say.
Yeah.
And
then Finley, presumably, who's your gaffer going to be?
There's only one man for the job there. It's Mr. Darrell Clark.
Thought you were going to go, there's only one man for the job there. Paul Buckle. Dave Penny.
Goodness.
Yeah, decent. Similar to a lot of the players, can't say much about DC that people don't already know.
Yeah, exactly. Just fantastic manager. Great. It was also the style of play that he could mix it about. Sometimes we were quite direct, but a lot of the time he played really good football. Oh, a very, very, very good game manager. Wasn't afraid to hook players off after half an hour if he knew it changed the game in a positive way. Didn't wait around for that. And ultimately, I think the downfall was just the progression off the pitch, and he just became frustrated. He'd been there for 4.5 years, I think.
Yes,
So
yeah, it was around that time.
I can understand why he became frustrated. I think we all were frustrated at that point in time. I think we all are now. But as a manager, ultimately, it's probably feel it, considering it's your job, you probably feel it on a different level or a different aspect, or from a different angle. So I was quite sad when he left. I wasn't surprised. But yeah, just a great manager, someone who galvanized the club at an incredibly difficult time. And let's not forget how much pressure he was under after he was relegated with us.
And I was going to say that is, you think from where he took us, playing away at the likes of your Telfords and stuff.
Yeah,
Took that squad from the depths of the conference into League One. I think, like you said, that's just, and you summarised it beautifully, mate. He was such a good proactive manager. He got Rovers, didn't he? He understood the fans, and I think as a manager, he was exceptional. He got some very average League Two players pushing up the upper echelon of the table, and yeah, I think everything you said there, I agree with, mate. And I'll just be curious to say, how far down or how close to DC at the moment would you say Barton is?
As a manager,
Yeah, just purely, we're not going personality or character.
I'd say he still has some way to go. I think on paper we actually have a very good League Two team.
Yeah,
I think this is our equilibrium around playoffs.
yeah, I agree.
So I'll see if he gets promotion, then he'll certainly be up there.
Yeah.
But I think we shouldn't really be expecting anything less with the team that we have at the moment. We definitely, I mean, it's been an absolutely fantastic run, and a lot of credit has to go to him and the coaching staff for the run that we've been on for the last 3 or 4 months. But he was saying, I remember there's that quote. Obviously, whenever we look, the admin tweets the result, and everybody replies to that video of Barton saying, "Of course, we're going to get promoted." So he set himself high standards. He's yet to reach them.
But yeah, that's fair, mate.
So I think he has the potential to be up there. But at the moment, I wouldn't place him with DC, and Trolls would probably be my second choice.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, mate. So
Yeah.
with the so if you can pick 3 substitutes from your honourable mentions, let's do it this way. Let's go. You need 1 defensive substitution, you need 1 midfield substitution, and 1 attacking substitution. Tough, that is.
Yeah, it's a tough one, mate.
So I mean, if we look at your defence, that's got. It's not. I mean, it's very good. I mean, defensively, but I wouldn't say that's the best at going forwards in terms of. Michael Smith was competent, wasn't he? But
yeah,
there's not like a Ledbetter, or I can't really think of any other left backs. In fairness,
I think just got my phone up in front of me. I'd be tempted to skip the defence and just go.
Yeah, do it.
Just say I'll go for a defensive-minded midfield instead, and in that case, I'd go for. I'll probably go for Coots in that respect. Yeah.
Fair enough, mate. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think we've talked about him before. I think he's clinically underrated, and he just makes us tick.
That's nice.
I think again, because he didn't make the starting 11. I guess he's not a Rovers legend as such, but he could well be, and he's a very solid player.
Are you gonna go for another midfielder, or do you want to have 2 attackers?
I'm gonna go for 2 attackers.
Who's the first one?
I'm gonna be unpopular and stick Matty Taylor on the bench
No,
and not bring him on.
Very different to Lambert, isn't it? So
yeah, exactly. It's amazing. Obviously, the art of being a striker is you don't have to be one particular type of player to be very good at it. Ricky was a bit of a brute target man, whilst Matty was a bit more sort of mercurial and had a lot of finesse. So I think I'd stick Taylor on the bench and refuse to bring him on. And then I'd probably have Evo or Finley.
Yeah,
as a sub.
Very well-rounded bench that.
Yeah,
that's nice, mate. I like that. So I just read it back to you so all the viewers can hear it and see if you want to make any last-minute changes. So in goal, we've got James Belshaw. At right back, we have Michael Smith. The two centre-backs we've gone for is Steve Elliott and Tom Lockyer. Left back is Lee Brown. The two centre-mids is Stuart Campbell and Chris Lines. In the three, you've got Mustafa Carriol, the Geordie Maradona, which is Elliot Anderson, Billy Bowden, and then Ricky Lambert up front. So my question to you is, how high do you think that team could finish in the EFL when they're all in their prime?
When they're all in their prime, I think definitely in the Championship. I mean, we can see that Ricky was a Premier League player in his prime. Excuse me, mate. Locks is in his prime, playing in Championship. Taylor was playing in Championship. I know he's not starting.
He will play Championship and above.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, we'd be heavily relying on Sir Ricky, but I think top half of the Championship, surely.
Yeah, like I said with a lot of your picks, I think people would struggle to disagree with that. So that's been a pleasure, mate. Thank you very much for doing that.
No, yeah, it was great to do that.
And I think that would take some beating, mate. So thank you for joining us, and be sure to check out our other videos on this series. And see you soon. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Cheers.